As we close the Crossroads convening, we're honored to hear from Stanley Richards, President and CEO of the Fortune Society. He will offer final reflections and a call to action as we look ahead to the future of safety and justice in New York City.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am deeply honored to be the closing speaker for NYC at a crossroads, charting a path of just and path forward. My name is Stanley Richards, and I'm the president and CEO of the Fortune Society, a leading nonprofit organization that works to help people reintegrate into society post-incarceration, providing diversion, mental health, and other services to try to help people rebuild from the trauma of incarceration and arrest. First, I want to thank John Jay College of Criminal Justice for opening up their campus to us for this convening. Thank you to President Carol Mason, Madam President, whose words left me truly inspired to kick off these 2 days of conversation. Thank you to John Jay's Vice President of Justice Initiatives, Erica Bond, who spoke earlier today, and the entire Future of Public Safety team for your leadership in organizing this program with Jeremy Travis and the Columbia Justice Lab. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to thank the Data Collaborative for Justice, whose work laid the foundation for this event. Thank you to Jeremy Travis for the vision he laid out for a convening where a wide range of experts on safety in our communities could come together around data and facts to take stock of where we've come from and identify how we can continue to build safer communities together as a city. Thank you to our amazing panelists and moderators for sharing your knowledge and expertise and innovative thinking. And thank you to all of you for sticking through for 2 days to share your passion, your commitment to seeing a better way forward when it comes to criminal justice and the impact of mass incarceration. These discussions are transformational when we talk and we listen to each other instead of talking past each other. Over the last couple of days, we've heard bold and audacious ideas for a safer and more just New York City. We were reminded that true justice must go beyond punishment and address the systemic economic and social harm. We heard that from the first panel. We heard it takes a village. It takes all of us to bring about the change we want in this country and in New York City. And we also heard that violence interventions should be tailored by local needs, and trusted community partners. That when we address disorder through care instead of force, we usually create more just outcomes. We also heard that we need policies that address both public concerns and the actual conditions of crime. That repairing harm starts with investing in culturally competent care and empowering survivors to lead the way. The small community innovation can have a national impact. So what we do here in New York can have a national impact. We also heard that public safety is not something that is out of our control. We have the authority and the innovation to make changes, and we should take good control of that. And we also heard that good data could be our North Star. Friends, that is our shared vision for the future. You've heard this numerous times in the past 2 days, but public safety in New York City is at a crossroads. This moment we're in is critical. In late April, I penned an op-ed in the New York Daily News alongside my good friend Jeremy Travis, who's here in the audience. And in that piece, we call for New York City to build upon the policies and programs that many people here have touted today. Instead of doubling back on regressive policies that lead to over-policing, racial profiling, over-incarceration, and hollowed-out communities. Last year, Fortune Society served more than 13,000 people, providing job development, outpatient behavioral health, substance use treatment, transitional and permanent supportive housing, and a range of other services. Folks, that's the course for moving forward. And I want to give a special shout out to my colleague who is here. He's been here for the last 2 days, our Deputy CEO at Fortune Society, Rob DeLeon, and our amazing team who do this work every single day. And we do this work centered on the humanity of those we serve and those who are in service. When we talk about grounding our work in local community, here's how it shows up at Fortune. Over 50% of our staff are people with lived experience or in recovery. Over 40% of our executive leadership team is people impacted by the criminal justice system and or in recovery. I'm formerly incarcerated. Rob DeLeon is formerly incarcerated. Ronald Day is formerly incarcerated. Our general counsel is formerly incarcerated. Our chief strategic officer is formerly incarcerated. That is how we ground this work in the people who have experienced the trauma of the system. And we can continue to do that. The blueprint is before us. My remarks today aren't meant to downplay the valid concerns of New Yorkers who are worried about crime in their communities. But it is with these concerns in mind that I urge us to focus on smarter policies rooted in community and good data. We can embrace police tactics that maximize crime prevention and trust building while minimizing the use of force. We can do that. We can enhance victim services to help them recover. We can ramp up investments in community-based interventions that were core to New York City's success in reducing crime by 80% before COVID-19 pandemic. At this pivotal crossroad, what choice are we going to make? Which path will our city choose? I know where I think we should go. And after the last 2 days, I think you all know where we should go as well. I want to leave you with 3 big takeaways from these last 2 days. 1, we need to invest in more studies like the one co-released by the Data Collaborative for Justice and the University of Maryland, and would encourage you all to take a look at it. It's an amazing report that is grounded in data that can chart us a path forward. We can make better policy decisions when those decisions are anchored in research that paints the full picture of public safety. 2, we need to shift the narrative on public safety. The truth is, the narrative about crime doesn't match the reality of crime and victimization in New York. It takes all of us to combat those narratives while being mindful not to dismiss the concerns of everyday New Yorkers. 3, we need to resist the toxic allure of more and more punishment. We know that is not the answer. Not only does it not make us all safer, but it it also actively harms communities across every borough in our city. In closing, I want to leave you with this message. Our public safety strategies is a place for reflection, not a place for residence. We can look back and see what we've done and see the harm of those strategies on some of the most vulnerable communities in our city. And we can also look back and see where we made good investments. And those investments resulted in increased safety and reduction in incarceration. And that's what that report does. And I'll end with an excerpt from Kelly Haynes and Miriam Kaba. And I heard this last night at an event I went to, and it just spoke to this moment we're in. And it spoke to it very profoundly. Miriam Kaba is an abolitionist and talks about the spirit of hope. And I think in this time, in this day, in this moment, we need to be grounded in the hope that is the wind beneath our wings. So I want to share it with you. The practice of hope allows us to remain creative and strategic. It does not require us to deny the severity of our situation or detract from our practice of grief. To practice active hope, we do not need to believe that everything will work out in the end. We need only decide who we are choosing to be and how we are choosing to function in relationship to the outcome we desire and abide by what those decisions demand of us. So I hope that everyone here leaves with a sense of hope. That hope isn't blind optimism. It is something that demands something from us. Our collective energy to move forward and not backward. To demand accountability from our political leaders. To not try to solve an entrenched problem like mass incarceration and poverty and homelessness and mental illness and substance use with a 5-minute soundbite. That's the moment we're in right now. That's the moment we have. That's what it's going to take for us to move forward, centered on hope. So I look forward to an ongoing conversation with all of you. I look forward to our collective fight to elevate some of the most vulnerable New Yorkers. I look forward to the conversation of public safety using data, lived experience, community partnership to bring about the change we want in New York City. And we have an opportunity to hold those who want to lead the city accountable. So on June 12th, John Jay and Spectrum News is going to have the mayoral debate. And you all have an opportunity to submit questions. There is information where you could use your phone and download the questionnaire and ask your questions. And New York One will ask those questions of those who want to lead this city so that we have a fair and just city. Thank you, everyone.